welcome to my writing studio. Today we're going to be talking about writing exciting action scenes. And fiction is all about action, right? Something happens to your character reacts, action. In grammar, a verb is the part of speech that describes action. A verb could also describe a state of being, and when I say state of being, I mean being sad, being surprised, being determined. Right now, though, we'll just focus on verbs that describe physical action. These kids jump in the waves. Jump is the action, so jump is the verb in this sentence. There's plenty of action going on here. These kids are playing, they're running, they're kicking. Those are all verbs. And fiction is all about transporting your readers to another world, right? So if you want your readers to see that same movie that you're seeing in your head when you write, you need to use specific verbs. For instance, what if I asked you to imagine this scene? The bully hit the boy. Hit is the action, so hit is the verb in this sentence. So what did the action of hitting look like when you imagined it? And now let me ask you this. What would happen if I changed the verb in that sentence? What if I said the bully punched the boy? The bully slapped the boy, pounded the boy, pummeled the boy. I bet you imagined a very different scene every time the verb changed, right? And that's a good thing. Every time you use a more specific verb, your writing becomes more vivid. If you have trouble thinking of different verbs, you can always use a thesaurus. A thesaurus is a book that lists words that are similar in meaning. Words that are similar in meaning are called synonyms. And you can find plenty of free thesauruses online. Okay, now it's your turn to try it. Let's start with a very common action, walking. People walk in lots of different ways. Depends on where they are, what they're doing, even how they're feeling. Take a look at this woman. She's walking, sure, but can you come up with a verb to describe the specific way she's walking? Maybe you describe that purposeful walk as striding. She checks her watch and her pace changes. Maybe you thought it was jogging or sprinting. And remember, there is no right or wrong answer here. Creative writing is all about how you see the world. So just write it the way you see it. What verb would you use to describe how this woman is walking? Maybe you thought of her as strolling, wandering, meandering. Those are all verbs that can be used to describe somebody who is walking slowly. Jumping is another common action. And like walking, people jump in a lot of different ways for a lot of different reasons. What verb would you use to describe this girl's action? Did you think she was leaping, hopping, bouncing? Remember, there's no wrong answer. It's how you see it. Now, personally, I think one of the best ways to practice verbs is to describe the action of dancing. There are so many different styles of dance. You'll get a lot of practice coming up with verbs to describe them all. Sometimes it may even call for a little additional research, especially if you're studying different cultural and folk dances. These dances are steeped in tradition, and knowing the specific names and origins of the dances, the specific names of the dance moves, is another great way to add rich and realistic details to your fiction. And by the way, humans are not the only creatures who move. Think about verbs that would describe the actions of a pet, or an animal you see in nature, or one you see at a zoo or at an aquarium. What verb would you use to describe the way this little guy runs? Maybe you thought of the verb scampering, scurrying, romping. Things move too. Waves crash on the beach. Weeds sway in the breeze. Flags flap and flutter in the wind. Pay attention to the way people and animals and things move and start adding more specific verbs to your fiction. The world's a dynamic place. Action, activity, motion, It's all around us, and it's just waiting for a writer like you to describe it.